On YouTube, Brad Vapes here, back for another video. This one is on the X Cube by Oakley, which is this little tiny wooden box, which you'll see in the close-ups. And I will say before I start this, it does come with a C5 clearomizer, but I'm not going to waste my time on it because honestly, I hate C clearomizers, C4, C5, iClear 16, stuff like that. They're all, in my opinion, awful. And if you do want to see a review, which I've done on a CE clearomizer, check out my video on the iGo 3 and C4 clearomizer. That was a sort of a pack that I did a review on back in the day. So if you want to see a review on one of them, you can check that out. But I personally recommend going for something different. For example, I'm going to be using this with a K-Fun Mini because they perform amazingly, but obviously they're rebuildable. So just I'm not going to use the C5 clearomizer just because I think it will be a waste of time. It'll just, the vapor production, the flavour is just too feeble to even like waste my liquid on. So I mean, yeah, I'm not going to be using that. But we'll be looking at this, we'll be talking about everything the box contains, and I'll show you basically how it all works. I'll talk about all the, well, the very few features that this does have. But yeah, so we'll get the close-ups now. Okay, so this is the box that the X Cube by Oakley comes in, and the first thing that I noticed is this graphic on the front isn't even printed on straight. You can see it's further away up here, further away down there, and then closer here and here. But maybe that was on purpose, maybe it wasn't, but that's just something I thought I'd mention. And this is a pretty funky box the way it opens. It's got this little diagonal opening style, don't know why, it doesn't change in any way, but kind of thought it looked funky. So it's going to come with this charger for your 18350 batteries, and this light here will light up red when it's charging and green when it's fully charged. I haven't actually used this, so I'm just assuming it works. I just use my normal night core charger. Well, I can't even use this because it's got these European pins, so that's something you might have to consider, getting a European pin to English pin adapter. But I personally just use the charger that I already had. And if you're getting a device like this, you may already have a charger because you know it comes with 18350 batteries. So yeah, it comes with this. It also comes with these two 18350 batteries, which mine were dead. I'll show you these close up because you will see that on the front here. It does say 3.7 volts, 18350, GEMP. I guess that's the brand. There's nothing else on there. It tells you where the positive and negative is. But from what I know, these batteries read out, I think it's around 700 to 900 milliamps. Nowhere seems to be sure. The website itself doesn't seem to be sure, but just for safety reasons and just for battery life, I use my eFest, my purple eFest 18350s. It also comes with this C5 clearomizer. I'll show you this close up. As you can see, I haven't even taken this out of the packet. I'm not a big fan of these. I'd rather give this away, include it in a giveaway at some point, maybe even give away this whole kit. Just because I'm personally not a fan of these. I'm not a fan of silica wicks that much, and just not my cup of tea. And then finally, we've got the X Cube itself. I'll just move these out of the way now. As you can see, Ego threaded, so your Ego threaded devices will fit on here, and I'll quickly just grab one that I've got at hand. And here I've got this, what is it, an EVOD, and you'll be able to see that just screws up there like that. And this EVOD doesn't quite sit flush. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little bit of a gap. But one thing that I should also mention is the Ego threads and the 510 threads, they're not level. This side's higher up, there's more space. This one's lower down. So it's actually a little bit wonky. I've tried giving it a little bit of a pull, see if it would straighten it out, but didn't work out. So that's how that fits on with a Ego threaded atomizer. And yeah, so you can see this is the device itself. It's tiny, and the button here, it doesn't sit flush no matter what way you put it. You can see there's a gap there. It's kind of just these sanded down edges don't fit flush. There's a huge gap on this side. So I thought, you know what, I'll flip it around, maybe it'll fit better. Nope, I can't even push it and put it in place because it just moves back because of the magnets. Gap, overhang, gap, uneven gap, and again the sand doesn't fit together, and it's the same no matter what way I put it, but I do find that this way is the best way. one of the orientations just happened to fit a bit better than the other three, and you can see still it isn't fitting that flush. One thing that isn't in this box, which I forgot to mention, is it does include English instructions, which is good because European, like French ones or something, that wouldn't be very handy. And as I've already shows it includes the mod, 2 batteries. It includes a C4 plus V2 clearomizer, which apparently has long wicks, but I don't know how that would be a feature because the wicks have to be long to reach the bottom of the tank. And a special charger for the batteries. In the presentation, it's got a presentation box. Apparently, that's a feature. And the kit is a high quality Oakley mod made of wood, and it's very easy to use. I agree, it's easy to use, but I wouldn't consider this high quality wood craft, in my opinion. Okay, so it's simple to use. All you do is you get your battery, put it in, which side is that? Positive end first. Put your button on, and then you press this button. And it's going to be hard to show this since it's quite bright, but when you press it, that LED will light up. Well, I can't show you guys the LED lighting up because it is a very dim LED and my camera does not seem to want to pick that up. It will have a sort of a selection of different flashes for different problems. Like when there's a short circuit, it'll flash 3 times. If you use it for 10 seconds continuously, it will automatically stop you from using it, and it'll flash 16 times, which is a very random number. And also, if the mod is running out, it will flash a excessive 30 times, which that's sort of a bit of excessive in my opinion, but I guess 30 is just the number they chose to go for. And it is getting a lot brighter in here. Let me just turn this down. Okay, so I'm going to be using this with my K-Fun, but as you can see, the 510s threads. Well, there's no beauty ring there, and it does not come with a beauty ring. So I got my Nature Vape beauty ring. Screwed that on here, which again the beauty ring does not fit on there flush. And at this point here, the threads are fine up to a point, and then they get very crunchy, and then you have to really sort of twist it in place. And you see now that's sitting flush enough, and then you just screw your atomizer on there. Which the 510 threads are smooth. They're really nice. Get nice and tight in there. And then you can see that that's how the mod looks itself. It's actually quite nice looking pipe, but when you look a little bit closer, you're going to see that these sanded edges, they're all uneven, they're all a bit skew width. They're all kind of off, they're all different sizes. It's thinner here and thicker here. And all the sides are just, I feel like it's been sanded very quickly or very poorly. And that's just my opinion on the overall finish of the product. The wood itself, it's a nice looking wood. Maybe could have done with a finish because it has got a bit of a grippy feel, and not in the good way, because obviously you want it to be a bit grippy so you don't drop it all the time, but it's got a bit of a gross grippy feel. Kind of feels like it's sticking to your skin. Yeah, so that's the device itself, and now we'll go back to the face part of this review, and we'll see how it performs, and then we'll finish off this review. Okay, so now we're going to have a look at the X-Cube by Oakley. But before I talk about it, I want to apologise for this section of the video being a lot darker outside and the lighting being different, and I might miss out a few things which I was supposed to mention, or I might mention something twice. But basically the video file got corrupted and there was no way I could bring it back, so I'm kind of just having to reshoot this and hope that I remember to mention everything and hope that I don't forget anything. But yeah, so we're going to see how it vapes, and I've just got a fresh battery in here. It's still a fresh E-Fest because I put it back on charge and I found out the video got corrupted, so I have to redo the section of the video. Same atomizer that I used in the first one, it's still performing the same, so it should be completely the same, but yeah, so we'll see how it vapes. And as you know, this is sort of like a wooden pipe looking box mod, so you do have to vape like a pipe, so hopefully I don't look too posh. So as you can see, it's vaping fine, and hopefully in this light now, I'll block the light somehow. You can see it lighting up. Hey, there you go. You can see it lined up. You can see it's not a very bright light, right? But you can see it's producing like a decent amount of vapor. But the battery, I think because of the chipset in here, I think it is limited to a 3.7 volt maximum output. So if you're going to use a mechanical mod, obviously with the battery being fully charged, it would output 4.2 volts. So this doesn't perform as well as an 18350 mechanical mod would, but would, but as the battery runs out, it does start to perform at 3.7 volts, which is pretty much like the standard voltage for any sort of 18 series battery, because if you read on the actual batteries themselves, it will say 3.7 volts. But basically this is like a regulated 3.7 volts, so it's not going to drop in performance, and it's not going to, basically it's not going to be really powerful at the beginning of its life and then be really weak at the end. It's just going to be a constant 3.7 volts. So that is a plus side, but I still find it a bit of a negative, because when I put a fresh battery into a mechanical mod, I expect it to just like perform really well, because obviously it's putting out a higher voltage than it would be if it was like half dead, whereas this is kind of a little bit weak throughout. Like if I have a drag, it's a little bit weak, but if I have two consecutive ones, they'll be a little bit stronger. Hopefully, like I'll be able to show you now. So you'll be able to see them second two were like thicker clouds, like it was a denser vape, whereas the first one there was like almost no vapor. But that's just part of, I mean, this coil in here, it's not even a high resistance coil, it's only a 1.5 or 1.4 ohm build, so it doesn't really require that much power, but 3.7 volts just mustn't be enough power for it. But I mean, it all depends on your build and your liquid and all that jazz, but it would depend on your battery, because I've said it's a regulated device and it's always at 3.7 volts. And some things which I think I've mentioned in the close-ups, but I'm not sure, so I'm just going to recap. This bit on here, it just doesn't fit right, and the finish itself's kind of a little bit sketchy. The only thing I do like is this button. No matter where I press it, it fires fine, and that's because the metal ring inside's making contact with this metal ring no matter where you put it, so you're always getting that that connection. But one thing that did happen when I recorded this part of the video first time round, I was showing that it was working by showing the sound of the atomizer, but when I pressed the button in a certain place, the whole button just fell apart into my hands. So I mean, I mentioned that maybe rather than having magnets like that, maybe if you had a sort of a thread where you could like screw it down into place and then it would like stay in place, opposed to just having four magnets which will at some points come apart. Like if I put it in my pocket and pull it out, the magnet could slide off and then it will fall. There you go, perfect example. It's literally just fallen apart now. I wasn't even putting any pressure on it, and I mean, that's a little bit of a hassle, so I'm going to go and pick all them button pieces up. Okay, well, I've put it all back together now, and I mean, it does go back together easy. It's simple to do. It's not a complicated mechanism. It's literally just put the button into the button holder and then clip it all on top and it all holds itself in place. But as you've seen, it's just fallen apart there. It fell apart when I was recording earlier, and it fell apart before I've started recording using it, because obviously I've tested it before I've been recording, and it's done it 3 times now. And I mean, to have a mod that if you hold it in the wrong way it'll fall apart, that's obviously not something that you want. So that's obviously a major downfall for me. I don't know if you can tell there, but the actual device itself, it's not even. I've mentioned this in the close-ups. The Ego threads and the 510 threads are all sort of veered this way a little bit, and I mean that might be on purpose so that it's angled towards your mouth more because it's like a pipe. But I mean, it makes it look wonky and makes it look lopsided. I mean, personally, I would have preferred it if that was leaning that way a little bit more. But I mean, just the whole thing works fine, but like the sanding is a bit uneven, like the file down sides, and the button falls apart, and it's not super powerful, but it's not a problem because it is a regulated device and it is just putting out 3.7 volts all the time. And I mean, just the button's probably my favourite thing about it, just the fact that you can press it anywhere, but even then the button's got a flaw because it always falls off, and well, not always, 3 times out of like the week and a half that I've had it. But I mean, just it seems to be sort of the way the button even fits on. It's got all these lips I've mentioned in the close-ups, and it just seems that I think I mentioned earlier, I think it was about £30, and the novelty of having like a pipe, it's cool. Like I'm glad that I've had the chance to try a sort of e-pipe style mod, but I mean, the fact that it has so many problems, the fact that the button doesn't fit together properly, the fact that the battery life, I mean not the battery life, sorry, the battery power, it's weak. Even the LED is not a very bright LED. The 510's wonky, the filing or the sanding or whatever way they finish the edges, it's all uneven. The button doesn't fit on straight. It's just, it seems there's more negatives than positives. So I personally would not recommend buying this. But I mean, if you want to get a cheap e-pipe, I'm not sure what the price of e-pipes are these days, but £30. If you can't find anything cheaper, then go for it and try it, and hopefully yours comes with a better fitting button, because as I said, mine didn't fit no matter what direction I put it on. So I mean, I've seen people online, I've seen other reviews where they've had a problem with the button not fitting on no matter which orientation they put it in, but I've had some other people that have been like, yeah, it fits on fine, so I could just have a bad one. But I mean, even so, there's still other problems which I kind of think make it not worth the money. Okay, well that's the end of this review. I can't think of anything else I've got to say, but now you know my opinion on it. But do leave a comment down below if you've got this, or if you've watched reviews, or if you've got something to say about it, because I'm more than happy to hear what you guys have got to say. I like hearing your feedback and stuff like that. Leave a like if you like the video, don't leave a like if you don't like it, or dislike it if you don't like it. Like I said, leave a comment, all the links are in the description down below. And if you haven't already subscribed and you like this video, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button, which will be around here somewhere. And that's all I've got to say. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys later.